that problem up for us. So I should sound much more natural and like myself. Uh, this is ML Spanky. If you like the content, I hate to say it, but it's the only way it helps, man. Please like and subscribe if any of these are helping you. Today's topic, we just gonna dive right into it. We're sticking to addiction on this channel because relationship advice so far doesn't seem to be my thing. But anytime someone asks a personal question, I will gladly answer it. You could message me, comment me, however you want to contact me. But all right, let's get right into it. What do I recommend to someone who just got out of rehab? And that's all they said. So that really depends on, did you go to a 28-day stay? Did you go to a 7-day detox? Did you go to a 6-month program, a 6-month to a year program? Did you go to did you go to a 6-month and then do a halfway house? So there's a lot of variance here, but I'm going to guess that they went to regular rehab because that's what most people do. And there are, a few very key things that I think in order to succeed you have to do. First of all, I wrote some notes. If you see me looking over to the right, that's why. Do not hang out with your old friends who are still using unless you know for a fact that they are sober and that they are supportive of it. This is actually, I might as well just mold this into one. I was going to have it on two separate topics, but you're going to find out that a lot of your friends weren't really your friends. I mean, especially if someone treats your sobriety negatively, like, oh, you're fucking quitting on me, man, or, some dumb, if anything that is not positive, when you tell them that news, instantly stop talking to that person. They do not matter. They do not belong in your life, and they more than likely do not care about, well, they just don't care about you. That is a fact. I'm going to be completely honest. I had a lot of so-called acquaintances. As I stated before, I used to hustle hard, so I had mad people that I fucking, parties, all that. A lot of people liked me, was my friend, and all that jazz. And yeah, well, as far as my heroin users, I retained 4. We didn't hang out often. There was only one, and all 4 of these people had extensive clean time, relapsed, and died. Okay, so that's just unfortunate. That may end up happening to some of your friends. That is why I recommend staying away from them, especially in your your first, honestly, year is really difficult. And I would say even all the way up to 2 before it even slightly isn't to where, like, all you want to do is shoot dope, especially if that's how you got rid of the pain. That's how you escape day to day. If you're living a life that you're not enjoying, the only way to enjoy it, that shitty job you work at for that bullshit pay was to get high, right? And you lived like that for a really long time. You did not become that overnight. You did not become that in one day. Okay? Chances are it took years. You started out, maybe you were one of the few that got back pills, but more than likely, a buddy showed you some teas and you started snorting those, and then maybe you found some, I forget, I can't remember all the steps up, but you found some Opanas eventually, and you really love those things, and you started to go a little too hard on those, and then they got to be a bit expensive, and then, but this is all the course over a lot of time. It's not like you just jump into shooting dope. It's not, like most of us have said at some point in our life, I will never use a needle. I'm dead. Those things, fuck those. I'll never use one. I know I have. I assume most of you have. I know that shooting drugs wasn't a part of my, lifestyle that I predicted, but it's sadly, I mean, there were some, try to take out the positives from it too, okay? Because you can look at everything through a negative lens, but you can learn a lot of valuable lessons, because the person you were when you were using doesn't have to be the person that you are today. And that's a very key thing, is taking it day by day. and understanding that relapse is a part of recovery. Okay, now I'm not telling you to go out and relapse, and I'm not telling you it is a good idea, and I'm not telling you that it has to happen. But to a lot of us, it does. Okay, to a lot of us, our first time trying to get clean does not succeed. If that day comes and you are going to relapse, okay, and I'm speaking specifically to the person who asked this question, use your fucking brain and find some real dope, okay? Not fat, not anything, not car fentanyl, you know, find someone you know who can get you real shit or actually fucking take a small snort and sample your shit first. You know, like if you get a fucking bun or something, you know, snort a quarter of a bag. You know, I know you don't want to waste any of it because we all been there, but I'm going to tell you what, all four of my friends that I lost, you know how they all died? Relapse. Every single one of them was relapse. Okay, I lied. One person was their first use of the needle. Okay? And that is usually how people die. It is not someone who is shooting dope on a daily basis that is typically going to OD unless they're killing themselves. You do get those types of ODs, and they're classified as ODs, but I'm telling you from a person in that, when you're in that pain and you're in that depth, you know, going out that way sounds real nice. I made many attempts. I don't know how, scientifically, I shouldn't be alive. Okay? I don't know how I've woken up on a few multiple different occasions, because I made sure it was enough, and that's, you know, I don't know how it happened. I don't know why. Um, I just, either there's something looking out for me or I got real fucking lucky. I don't know which one it is, but you know, that's very important that if you're going to do that, like if you're going to relapse, like at least fucking nose test, man. It's not gonna kill you. If you're relapsing, you know you're grabbing more than fucking one bag anyways, and chances are you're literally only gonna need a quarter of a shot before you're rocked. Okay? So don't fucking at least test it, man. And small, very small, minute amounts so you know what you're dealing with. Okay? Or you will die. That's what happens to everybody. They just fucking die because they take one bag and it ends up being a bunch of fucking fat and they haven't done dope in fucking a year and a half. Boom, out like a light. Boom, out like a light. Oh, never used a needle before. They usually snort 4 bags. Boom, shoot 4 bags, out like a light. All right, you get that. This is a point that I have to make. I don't want relapse to happen. I'm not condoning it. I would love it if it never happened to you and you fully succeeded without it ever occurring. But it's just very rare for that to happen. So if you do get to that point, keep all of those things that I said in mind. Now, another point. Just because you got out of rehab doesn't mean you're ready to go back to the real world and go back to how things used to be. You have to think about this, okay? How long did it take you to become or to be put where you were? It was years, right? Like I think I went over this briefly, so it was in my notes, so I actually just messed up. I meant to go through this in order, but sadly, it appears that I don't know how to read, and yeah, it's gonna. The point is realistically, it's gonna take you some time, okay? And I would highly recommend moving in with a family member for a little while. If that's not an option, finding a friend who will give you really cheap rent so you can work a non-stressful job with minimal pay, like a couple days a week, and your money basically just goes towards rent and food, so you don't have the option to even buy it. Okay, and it keeps your stress levels minimal free. Get your ass into some counseling. All right, go every week. All right, seriously, the only way that you're really gonna learn real coping skills and real, like, when that trigger comes on, because for the rest of your life you're gonna hold a gun to your head, all right, and you're just waiting for an excuse to pull that trigger. And as soon as life gets bad, as soon as things get going, you go right in there. All right, It's a fact of life. When you're an addict, we just look for, it's not like we want to, but it's just the way we're wired now. It's like, oh, fuck it, dude. I'm trying so hard. I'm doing all the right things. Like, what the fuck's the point anymore? Just fuck it. I'm done. I'm done. And then, you're right back to where you were. And some make it out and some don't. So that's why I recommend, if possible, staying with a family member and just telling them, you need some time to like really get to know yourself, get healed off from past experiences that have bothered you, that have caused you to use for so long. Like, we use drugs because we are depressed, because we are unhappy with our lives. Sure, in the beginning it is fun, but the reality of it is 95% of us shoot dope to take the pain away, to take what is bothering us away, to take that blissfulness, so we don't have to think about it, we don't have to feel it, we don't have to care about it. It's all that matters is dope. Okay? And my last and final point, because I've been trying to make these videos shorter, is do not be afraid to use a crutch if you need one. Okay? A lot of us abused opiates for years. Our brain probably doesn't produce dopamine anymore. Okay? It's no different than someone who abuses Molly for 2 years straight. And I can say this from experience, that I fucking abused the shit out of it. So I have terrible short-term memory. These are all side effects that you can look up that are very clear. And depression, massive. All right? And then you combine that with dope, depression, massive. Right? Because my brain's not producing serotonin because it was constantly getting flooded with it. I'm sure now it's started to slowly produce over time, but I'm definitely not normal. And dopamine, I'm on a crutch. All right? And there are 3 different options. And it's going to depend on where you're at in your recovery, straight up. Okay, vivitrol, obviously, is the one everyone's going to tell you to do when you get out of rehab. The thing about vivitrol is it sounds great. It is going to take away your cravings. It's going to make you not even want to use. I have heard that from a lot of people. But the fact is, if you do not take your ass to go get that shot again, all those cravings come back. I think it masks it quite heavily, and just it masks the real problem. I could be wrong, but I do notice a lot of people get on the vivitrol shot and then eventually don't come back and go right back to where they were. They do it good for a couple months, and then they just don't go for an appointment and they never show back up. But it could work for you. If you've already beaten the withdrawals, why put yourself through it? You know what I'm saying? Why do that? Me personally, I was clean for months. Like I said, I fucking had to do 8 months in jail. I was looking at 2 to 4 for, I ended up having to do 8 months. They count a year, So you get a year, you serve 8. So, at the end of the day, I didn't have an addiction, and I chose to get myself on a suboxone program because I know that suboxone doesn't get you high, whereas methadone, I've seen a lot of people not out on it, especially if it's a higher dosage. You can go in there and lie about the amount you're using and get enough to get you rocked. I mean, they'll let you go up to, I think, 200 milligrams, and that's a high amount. Okay, so this is where it varies. I think the best option is suboxone, because suboxone also binds to your opiate receptors. So if you do relapse while on suboxone, you're not going to feel the dope like you normally would, and it's going to piss you the fuck off. It's going to really annoy you, even if you don't take it for a couple of days. This fucking thing has a long half-life, so you're still not going to feel it like you did. Like, you're going to feel it a little more, but you're not going to feel it. Like that's what it does. It sticks to these receptors, so that all this dope comes in, and your brain's like, nah, bro, you ain't feeling that today. We got other shit on it. That's the benefit to suboxone, that methadone. Vivitrol also has blockers because, they're similar. They have the blocker in it as well. But suboxone actually binds, like, not everyone thinks it's norphamine, but actually norphamine does nothing. It's actually only in the suboxone, so people can't shoot it and abuse it because it'll make you sick. The suboxone itself, it's a partial opiate, so it binds to those receptors, but it doesn't give you a high, and it has a max that your brain can that your brain can even take in. So you can't OD on them ever, no matter how many you take, because you can only absorb a max of 16 milligrams a day. That's max. Your body just doesn't ever. You could take 5 more of them, and it doesn't matter. Your body will not absorb it. So less risk of accidental death, less risk of, and you're also not getting high, but you are getting that dopamine, which you may not have been getting otherwise. I decided to go on suboxone about 6 months after getting out of jail because I had such bad depression, and I was I'll be honest, I was pretty sure, I was concerned I was definitely going to kill myself, and there was, I tried antidepressants, I tried all that other shit, and nothing was working, and I was like, I was already going to counseling because I was committed to that, and I wanted to heal the natural way. I couldn't, so I've been on suboxone ever since. If I were, you know, that's what I would advise, but we're all different, Some people, methadone works great for them. Some people, that's what they prefer, but I think there's no doubt that methadone still has a high. Now, when you've been on it long enough, and if you're honest with your doctor about your dosage and stuff like that, you can prevent that from happening. But we're addicts, man. You're gonna want that. You're gonna want your higher dose, right? So, but if you're not ready to be fully sober, then you go with methadone, right? Like, Suboxone is not gonna get you high, even if you fucking try your balls off. Methadone, if you take enough of those, you're definitely gonna get high. All right. So it still has that option, right? Whereas Suboxone doesn't. But if you know that if you don't have that, opiate buzz, that you're just gonna go backwards, because I've had a few people recommend methadone to me because I've been struggling so much. But to me, I feel like if I go with the methadone route, I'm just going to get that feeling, and then I'm going to want more and more, and there's going to get to be a point where they're going to be like, well, we can't give you what you're asking for, and at that point, I'm going to want something stronger, So that's my fear, but everyone is different. Methadone works for plenty of people. Vivitrol also works for plenty of people. But I do think Vivitrol is a serious problem of masking it, because everyone who takes that shot swears that they don't even crave it anymore. It's like they never did the drug in the begin with. They don't think about it. They don't crave it. They don't have none of these things. And that's just, you better take that shot for life. That's all I got to say, cuz as soon as you go off of it, you literally just started your sobriety all over again, because you never dealt with what the real problems are. Okay? So I hope that it clears things up. That is my advice for you. If the video did help, if it was interesting, if you made it to the end of the video, like, follow my socials, subscribe. It would mean a lot to me. It would mean a lot to Marissa, who is no longer here. I'm sure she would love the community that we're creating. I'm able to answer questions and actually help people, and that's just a beautiful thing. So thank you for sending it out. And I like to keep people anonymous, so I'm not going to say your name, but like I said, I pay attention to these things. So all you got to do is comment, message me personally, and I'll be glad to make a video about it. In fact, it helps me because sometimes I don't know what to talk about, and this ended up being a perfect subject. So that's it. Like I said, my socials are in the description. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. ML Spanky signing out.